When Robin came to live with me, it's fine to say, I'll take her, she'll always live with me. But what if my husband had decided at the time, you know what, this is really too much for me. I really can't deal with this. Because we're not just dealing with, we're actually dealing with a 49-year-old at this time who can't dress herself, would never eat unless you said, come on, Robin, it's time to eat, and you put food in front of her. She would just sit and she would eat crackers or whatever, and whatever was available right in front of her, which she did quite often. That's why she weighed 300 pounds. And all I could think of was that I made a promise to my mother, and I'm keeping the promise. And I love my husband more than anything in this world. And I cannot imagine living 5 seconds without him. And all I could think of was that if this works out, that my sweet husband decides this is too much for him and he's going to leave, I have to say goodbye to him. It's not that I would ever say to you that I love my sister more than I love my husband. But my husband, I know, would survive. She could not survive. So I had already made my mind up that I would keep her. And I would pray and pray and pray that at the end of a week, that my husband would say, you know what? I can't live without you either. And we will survive this. Fortunately for me, that decision never came. My husband has taken care of my sister more than you could ever begin to imagine. There isn't a thing that she looks at that he doesn't buy. There isn't a thing that she craves, that she likes, that he doesn't buy. And my sister never talked when she came to me. She only talked very little. And one day she said she wanted a chocolate chip cookie. Now, most little kids that are 2 or 3 or 4 would say, can I have a cookie? My sister never did that. That day that she said that, we were so stunned that she said that you will never, ever come into my home that there aren't at least 2 or 3 boxes of chocolate chip cookies, ever. And when she asked for a chocolate chip cookie the second time, we cried because we knew that we had made some kind of a progress with my sister. When I look at her, I see my mom. And I know that, I truthfully know that when I look in the mirror, I will never, ever question my role on this earth. And I know that like things that my children and my grandchildren do for my sister are things that they probably never expected in their lives. My children grew up with my sister. Some of my grandchildren grew up with my sister. But I know that some of the things, and they're all very giving and caring with my sister, and some of the things that they've experienced with my sister, I have to tell you, I don't know that any of you would ever have experienced it if it hadn't been for the fact that you see it with your own eyes. You see how everything that's so important to other people, everything that you think that you need in your life, when you see their faces experiencing the joy in these children at my sister's school's faces, you have to know that they've experienced something in their life that is far more important than anything material, because they've learned something. They've learned the lesson that my mother taught me, that my sister's important. That there isn't anything in this world that I wouldn't give up for her. Robin has never, ever changed anything for me, anything for me. And believe me when I tell you, she comes with all sorts of needs. I mean, she needs constant 24-hour care. And she takes 14 pills a day. And she has to wear Depends, and I have to have a plastic cover on her mattress. So all these things enter into it. Like, who in the world do you know at my age wants to take on something like that? Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to. You either do it or you don't do it. And it never was a case of, do I want it or don't I want it? That question never came into my brain. Never. It always came from my heart. She's mine. She's my sister. And that's the way it was. And that's the way it is. There's new challenges every day because I'm almost 70. So the new challenges are that it's difficult for me because of my age. I have arthritis, so it's difficult for me. But my needs, certainly not. I'm certainly not trying to say I'm something great. But even with my husband, with Pop, it's not. She comes first. I mean, no matter what. And I don't even know how to explain it. It's like when you're young and you have children, you don't even think about these things. You know you have a baby, so you have a shower, so you get all these things, and you just think everything's going to be glorious. You have no idea. You have no idea that someday you're going to get old, and you're going to want to go out back and play ball with those kids, but you can't. And you're going to want to get up and do this and do that, but you can't. So now we do what we can do, and the fact that Robin is I guess as special as she is, she just goes along with what we can do. We do, and every day she says to me, "You're my best sister in the whole world." And every day she says to my husband, "You're my best brother-in-law in the whole world." And what has happened now that she's starting to fail, she calls me mommy. And every once in a while, she goes, "There's my mommy." And so I think that she's confusing me with my mom, our mom, because she really doesn't remember my mother that well, but I do look a great deal like my mother. And I just think that when she says to me, and she does it often now, she'll say, "I love you, mommy." I really think it's my mother saying it to me. That my mother's letting me know that she knows that I've kept my promise. And that's that. This is my sister Robin. This is probably the sweetest little person you'll ever meet in your life. She doesn't have a mean bone in her body. She's grateful for anything you give her. And this is us.